this is it, you've made it. This is the last video for Unit 1. Well done for sitting through them all. Please use them for your revision. Just have them on in the background, remake your notes. They are going to be useful to help you remember things. And the videos do have a little bit more of an explanation of why things happen as well as what happens. So just going through the PowerPoint alone will give you the basic knowledge. And by listening to the tutorials, it's going to give you that merit and distinction knowledge that you need. But well done, made it to D6. So in this video, we're looking at extreme cold. This is termed hypothermia. So extreme heat was hyperthermia, this is hypothermia. We're going to look at the symptoms of it, the immediate responses of the body to extreme cold, and the impact that it has on the performance. So similar to hyperthermia, hypothermia is a change in core body temperature. This time it's if it goes below 32 degrees. And again, this can be fatal. You'll get major organ shutdown if your core body temperature goes as low as 32. What happens is, again, we've got an increased breathing rate and we've got increased heart rate and we have got an increase in blood pressure. We can appear drowsy. Drowsy means to be tired and not really that with it, so lacking concentration. In mild cold conditions, however, we can actually enhance performance. This is really interesting. When you are in a cold environment, so say you've gone out for a run, first thing in the morning, it's a little bit chilly and you've just got a thin top on, even if it's a long sleeve top and you're managing to conserve some of your skin heat, there's less blood that goes to the periphery. And by periphery, I mean it goes to the skin. Because when your core body temperature starts to go up, as we know, the blood moves to the skin and then the heat radiates from the skin, or you sweat, and that sweating evaporates. So in cold conditions, the blood has no need to go to the skin. So the blood can stay around the working muscles, which means actually that in slightly colder conditions, you've got a better ability to get more oxygen to the working muscles and more nutrients. So that can include electrolytes as well for muscle contraction. So if you are training in slightly colder temperatures, you should see an increase in your performance in theory. So the body will try to conserve heat if you are in major reduction in, if there is a major reduction in temperature, so it will reduce the blood supply to the periphery vessels. We'll try and get that word in somewhere, periphery. It means on the outside, so I think you've done that in Unit 2 with Miss Senior. So we're reducing the blood supply to the periphery vessels, so those ones near the skin. And the body will do this or can conserve and actually make heat for you, and it does this by shivering. Now, shivering you've all experienced, I'm sure, but they're rapid contractions and relaxation of skeletal muscle. And it does it to try to create heat. Really clever, never really thought about it. Hairs stand on end as well, which traps some of the heat to stop the heat radiating away. But it's the rapid contractions of your muscles all over your body when you're shivering that are creating heat to try and increase the core temperature. Non-shivering thermogenesis is a release of hormones by the body. So the body knows the core temperature is starting to drop and it releases some hormones. These hormones, such as adrenaline, can maintain metabolism. And if we can maintain metabolism, and we're breaking down fat here, look, it generates heat for us. So the body is working hard to break down this fat because adrenaline has made it release, or there's other hormones as well. And by breaking down that fat, we create heat, which means our core body temperature can be maintained or potentially increased. So do you remember the video on D4 of methods of heat loss and heat gain? So we're just going to talk about this. We have heat loss from the skin into water. So that can be a cold condition. Think about all of this open air swimming that people are doing now. that is a way that our body could lose its core temperature quite quickly. If we are in water, we will lose heat quicker than if we are just in cold air. Now, the reason for that is the surface area of the water, it's going to touch every part of our skin, so we're more likely to lose the heat. But the water will probably be a colder temperature. So the heat will move from your body because it's colder there, it will move quicker. It's the whole equilibrium thing, isn't it, where both sides need to be the same and then everything will stop moving. So if the water's colder, the heat from your body is going to transfer quicker. That said, even in conditions where the water and the air are the same temperature, you'll lose it quicker in the water, and that's just due to how much of the surface area it's touching and how close it is. So what we can do is layer, and that is what people tend to do these days. They don't wear just one massive grey coat like you can actually see on the guy there, but he'll have lots of layers underneath, and anyone skiing again knows how important your base layers are. Or when you get it wrong and you go out on a hot day and you've got your base layers on. So they insulate the heat radiated from your skin. So what it does is it forms a layer that traps the heat that's escaping. So it prevents convection as well from the air, so the air can't hit the skin because you've got a layer over the top. You've seen people with the foil blankets at the end of races. That's what they're doing. They're stopping people from losing too much body heat at the end. Evaporation occurs of the closed layer if you've got layers on, rather than at the skin. So rather than the heat being taken directly from the skin and giving you that cooling effect, it gets wicked away. It gets put into these little chambers of the clothes that you're wearing, and will go from the edge of the clothing rather than the skin, so it doesn't have that same cooling effect. Now, we would have talked about wicking in section D4, but that was the clothing that, if looked under a microscope, this is one side of the clothes, say your skin's here, and this is the air here. The wicking were those channels that sweat can escape from and then be evaporated from this surface and not the skin surface, so it keeps you warmer and prevents you from getting too cold. So we get blood redistribution again with extreme cold conditions, so the blood moves from the extremities to conserve heat. Now, I definitely would have shown you lots of gruesome photos and maybe even a video of a Sherpa or two who have suffered from frostbite, and you'll be able to see their brown, sort of crusty looking hands and feet usually, because there are extremities. That tends to be what gets frostbitten first of all, and what happens is the blood is removed from those vessels in those extremities. Now, if we've got no blood moving there, and it does that to conserve the heat, to keep it in the core, to keep you alive, if we lose oxygen to skin for too long, then the skin's going to die, and that's the black part of it that you see. It doesn't go black immediately. I mean, it really swells and gets quite painful, and it can be infected as well. I would have shown you these videos, I'm sure, so you'll know what I'm talking about, but it's a very painful process. This occurs when there's prolonged exposure to cold conditions. Right, that's it. Well done, you've made it. It's time for revision now. Please use the tutorials again. Please use all the tasks on the OneNote again, because they will help you direct your revision if one day you think, oh, I'm just really not sure what I'm doing. The most important thing you do is your exam papers and mark them. You don't have to write the answers. You can just read the answers to yourself and just keep going over it. Every now and again, give yourself an assessment to see where your weak points are, and good luck.